Hey Jin Min, thanks for buying a game from us. Here's your personalized teaching video for Bonsai with the help of our good friend Neck Pillow. All right, so let's start with the setup, okay? We'll take a look. All right, so I've set it up for a two-player game here. So you're gonna wanna lay out the board. You're gonna wanna make a supply of all these tiles. You got your wood tiles, your leaf tiles, your flower tiles, and your fruit tiles over there. Up top, there are these scoring tiles. So there's different colors of them. There's a blue, pink, brown, orange, and green one here. Each one has three. You pick three randomly, and you lay them out from the small, medium, and large gold tiles each. We'll talk about scoring those a little bit later. Then you have your Zen cards here. You shuffle it up, and you deal 4 out. Because we're a two-player game, I've taken out all the cards that have a 3 or 4 marking on them. You see those 3 dots and those 4 dots on the bottom there. You take these out of the deck for a two-player game. If you have a 3-player game, you include the 3 dots. If you have a 4-player game, you include the 4 dots, etc. And now see here, Neck Pillow has his setup here too. So he's got one of these pots over here and then one of these tiles to keep track of things. He's a second player, so he's going to start with 1 leaf and 1 wood. I'm going to be first player, so I just have my pot, my tile, and I only start with 1 wood. If we had 3 or 4 players, then they would have 1 wood, 1 leaf, 1 flower, and 1 wood, 1 leaf, 1 flower, and 1 fruit, respectively, if you had those people. Now on your turn, you really only have a decision of doing one of 2 things. You can either meditate, which means you take a card and you get a tile, possibly, or you cultivate, where you take one of your tiles and you add it to your pot and to grow your bonsai tree. So when you meditate or draw a card, you can pick from any of those 4 that are on the board. And not only do you get the card, but you also get the tiles that are depicted underneath it. This one you don't get any, this one you get one or the other, this one you get both, and this one you get both of those. So say I took this card over here, I would take that and I would add it to my board because this is a growth card, which we'll talk about in a second. And since it came from over here, I can take either of these. I already have a wood, so I think I'm going to take another leaf this time. And I'll add it to my personal supply. At the beginning of the game, you can only hold 5 things in your supply by the end of your turn. You can have more than that during your turn, but at the end of your turn, you have to discard down to 5. And there are ways to improve that, which we'll talk about in a second. So there's 5 types of cards that you can draw from the board. This one here is a growth card, and this allows you to place more tiles during your cultivate actions, which we'll talk about in a second as well. The master card lets you draw more tiles from the supply when you draw it. So say I had taken this card instead, even if I don't get anything here, in addition to that, I can also draw 2 wood tiles from the supply. And some of the other master cards have different ones. Sometimes it's a leaf, sometimes it's a flower. You can just take whatever they have on the master card. The tool cards, these are how you increase your hand size at the end of your turn. So if I draw this one, I would put it on this side over here. And now I get 5 plus 2. So at the end of my turn, I can hold up to 7 tiles, and I can discard down to 7 instead of 5. They're the helper tiles, helper cards over here. And so when I take this card, one time I also get to place new tiles onto my bonsai. So say I take this one, I would take it, put it face down because I used it, and I get to place 2 tiles that are depicted here. So I get to place one of these ones, and then any of the other ones, which I'll place one of these ones over here. Lastly, there are these parchment ones that give you endgame scoring bonuses. So there's going to be 2 points for every fruit that I have in my tree at the end of the game, and you just hold on to the side for scoring at the end of the game. After you draw a card, make sure you slide down the remaining ones to fill in the spaces, and then draw a new one to replace that. And then it's your turn. So instead of drawing a card, Neck Pillow wants to play some tiles instead by using the cultivate action. So we're going to look over here. So as a basic cultivate action, you can see this is a little reminder that you can place 1 wood, 1 leaf, and 1 wild tile onto your bonsai tree. And so that's just how it starts at the beginning. As you draw more and more of these growth cards, you're allowed to place more tiles at the same time. So say, for example, he had drawn this in a prior turn. Then now he would be able to place 2 wood tiles at the same time, as well as a leaf, as well as the wild. And these will continue to grow and grow and grow as you get more and more of these growth cards. When you get another one, you would just stack it on top like that, and it will extend the row continuously. So in his personal supply, he only has 1 wood and 1 leaf right now. So this is a pretty inefficient action, Neck Pillow. Maybe not the best move, huh? Anyways, so you get to place it here, and you get to put it onto your bonsai tree. Now, the rules for placing these tiles are pretty simple. So a wood tile can be placed adjacent to another wood tile with at least one side touching a wood tile. It has to touch a wood tile. A leaf tile must be placed adjacent to a wood tile because the leaves come from wood. And then a flower tile here must come from adjacent to a leaf tile because the flower would come off of a leaf. And then so then maybe make another leaf over here, and then maybe another leaf over here, a nice little stubby little bonsai tree. Now the fruits are interesting. You can see here, because the tile actually tells you two. But the fruit must be between two leaf tiles, which are adjacent to each other. And importantly, you can't place two fruits touching each other. So I could, even put a fruit here. But even though I would not be able to place a fruit here because there aren't two leaf tiles. But even if we had built it out and, oops, had two leaf tiles there, this is illegal. Fruits can't touch each other. No, 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 no. Get that out of there. Now, when you're placing these tiles, you want to keep in mind how they're going to score at the end of the game. So the wood tiles, even though they add structure to your bonsai tree, they actually don't score you any points at all. The leaf tiles, they add some structure too because you need to branch off of them, but they only give you 3 points. Now the flowers, they give you 1 point per free end over there, free side of it. So that's a maximum of 5 points, and that's why you want to keep them on the sides over there. And then the fruit tiles get you 7 points, but they take a bunch of space and they can't be adjacent to each other. So if you look over here, these are all 0, 0, 0, 0 points. These are 3, 3, 3, 3, so that's 12 points right there. This flower is totally free and beautiful, so that's all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points there. But this one's a little bit covered, so 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's another 9, so that's 21, and then you got this fruit over here, so that's 28 points. Nice little stubby 28-point bonsai tree. Not bad, neck pillow, but also not good at all, because you can get a lot bigger than that in this game. At the end of your turn, whether you draw a card and get the tile, or you place a tile into your bonsai tree, you're going to check if you meet the requirements for one of these gold tiles. Now, there's 3 gold tiles per game. There's 5 total in the box, but you only use 3 per game. And they have different requirements for each one. As soon as you meet the requirement for one of them, you have to decide right there and then whether you're going to take that tile or you're going to renounce it. The catch is that you can only have 1 of each color. So if you take this one, you are ineligible for that one or that one. So as soon as you get 8 tiles, 8 wooden tiles in your bonsai tree, you have to decide right there and then, am I going to take this for the 5 points or am I going to work harder for the other ones? If you renounce it, you cannot take that tile ever again. So you have to work towards getting one of the other 2s. If you take it, you're ineligible for the other 2. So tough decision. Now, the brown ones are pretty straightforward. It's whether or not you have 8, 10, or 12 wooden tiles in your bonsai tree. The green ones, similarly, just for leaf tiles, and the orange ones for fruit tiles. Now, the pink one and the blue one are interesting. So the pink one refers to how many protruding flowers you have. So protruding means that it's beyond the edge of one of your pot. So in order to do that, I would have to, build something here, put a little tile there, and then now I have a flower over there. That's 1 right there. Put another there. That's 2. And this is going to score me fewer points, but I could put that there and get 3, and then I could be eligible for that one. Same 4 and 5. Now the blue one is interesting because it's also referring to things protruding. The first one is protruding, but specifically from the far side of your pot. See how it's a little asymmetric? So the crack side of your pot is the far side of your pot. So you have to have something protruding on that side, and then you're eligible for that one over there. This one means that you need something protruding on both sides of your pot. And this one means you need one protruding on one side and the other one all the way underneath the pot. You got to build a whole dang thing all the way underneath. That's crazy, isn't it? But, I guess it's a lot of points. And then when that deck of cards runs out, that triggers the end of the game. So all the players, including the person who drew that last card, everyone gets one final turn, and then you go to the end game scoring. And that's it. So just remember, you can either draw a card, plus or minus a tile based on the bonus of it, or you can place a tile onto your thing. And then whether or not you do one of those things, at the end of your turn, you want to see make sure that you got one of those goals or not. And again, you can only get 1 of each color, so you can't double dip. And just try to make the most beautiful bonsai tree. All right, so let's run through some example turns. So we're kind of, midway through our 2-player game, or neck and neck, if you will, with neck pillow here. So on my turn, I'm really working towards that wooden stuff. So I'm going to draw a card. I'm going to take this guy right here. So I'm going to take him over here. He gets me 2 wooden tiles. I put him face down in a discard pile, and I take 2 from the supply, add it to my personal supply there. Now, since I took it from here, I can choose either a wood or a leaf tile. I'm working towards this wood objective here, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wood tiles, and I'm looking for 8. So I think I'm going to take 1 more wood tile, so I'm going to add that to my thing here. That's the end of my turn, so then I slide this over, and I draw a new one from the top of the deck, and I put it there. And let's see if I meet any of those criteria over there. Nope, not quite yet. So I'm going to pass it over to Neckpillow's turn. Now, Neckpillow here is cooking up a grand plan. He's going into this fruit game over here. In a prior turn, he drew this card that's going to get him 2 points at the end of the game for every fruit tile. He's already stocking up some tiles over here. So he's going to look over here. He's actually going to take this helper card. He's going to draw a card. It's going to be this one here. So before he, so he's going to let him place 1 wood tile and 1 anything. He's going to put it face down in his discard pile here. He's going to take 1 of his wood tiles and put it right over there, and then maybe 1 of the leaf tiles and put it right there. And then that's also going to get him 1 leaf and 1 fruit tile from the supply. So I'll take 1 of those, add it to a supply. We'll shift these down and draw a new one. Great. Now we check at the end of the turn. He has not met any of those requirements yet, and he has 5, and he can hold on to 5, so that's great. That's the end of his turn. All right, and it's back to me, and so now I'm going to play some tiles from my hand. So I can play all these, so I can get 3 wood, 2 leaf, and 1 of anything. So I actually have more than enough placements for what I have here. So I'm going to place these 3 wood first and try to just grow out my tree a little bit. I think I want a little bit more verticality here. I think a little bit of upward mobility here, and maybe a little bit lateral if I work for the other objective over there. Place this guy over there, and then put that flower around the end. That's going to look really nice. Great. And so that's really it for that turn. But wait a minute, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wooden tiles on my board. Heck yeah. So now I have to decide whether I want to take that or if I'm more ambitious and get one of those. I feel like I'm not going to make it, so I'm just going to take this guy over here and put it on the side. I'm going to get 5 points at the end of the game. But that means I can never get those 2. Very sad, but hopefully it'll pay off. Okay, now Neck Pillow is going to play his stuff, and he's going to play all these as well. So he's going to get 2 leafy boys. Let's see, one of those. Okay, so for the 2 wooden tiles, we'll start with that one. So he only has 1 wooden tile, so we'll just place that out over here, kind of expand a little bit. 2 leaf tiles, which is perfect because you got these 2 over here. Make a nice expansion of it, especially for planting for these fruits, which is perfect because he can place 1 fruit from that one and 1 fruit from that one. And look at that, he's got 2 fruits in his supply. Boom. Boom. Oh, look at that. So much fruits. Yum, 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 yum. And that's how you play Bonsai. So again, the game ends when that deck of cards runs out. There's a handy dandy little score pad here that you can write your score down to keep track of things and remind you. And just try to make the most beautiful bonsai tree you can. Hope you enjoy. And as always, reach out with any questions whatsoever. I'm happy to help, okay?